Welcome my friends, welcome back to Project TAS. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you've watched any of my previous videos, thank you for returning to my channel. Today we're doing the final Blake 7 series review. This time it's obviously season 4. I'm still planning to put together a final video where I will rank all the episodes and seasons, as well as go over a few other Blake 7 thingies, so please watch this space. As always, I will point out that this review will inevitably touch upon certain plot elements of this season and the episodes within it, and may even reveal developments for the series of Blake 7 as a whole. So if you haven't seen any Season 4 episodes or anything else in terms of Blake 7, a huge spoiler alert is in order in case you wish to do a bit of Blake 7 catch-up prior to watching this review. You have been warned. Right, let's get to it, shall we? A season of two halves, for lack of a better description, and one that may potentially polarise the opinions of those Blake fans who view this as the worst season of the quartet. The first half of the season would certainly merit that assessment. My own appraisal led to only 2 of the first 7 episodes being awarded 1 star each, and even now I am second guessing the solitary mark I gave to Rescue. The second half, however, gives us a repriving escalation in quality for all concerned, including 2 episodes that I have personally awarded full marks to, Orbit, and of course the infamous grand finale, Blake. The episodes immediately around these 2 classics cover the waspish banter of the earlier seasons, a more concerted attempt at telling original stories with more fleshed out characters, and indeed at least one guest star can be pointed to in each of the final 6 episodes, that gives us, at worst, an interesting performance. Of the 6, only Warlord comes across as somewhat, well, not exactly unpolished, maybe a bit too exuberant or a tad too bizarre a style for Blake 7, and as Servalan's final appearance it leaves a lot to be desired, but for daft costumes, even dafter hair, crazy radioactive airborne viruses, and the bizarre way our heroes protect themselves from it,
she took her glove off.
Even this is perfectly engaging entertainment. Does this very entertaining second half make up for the dire first half of the season, however? I hear a chorus of no's to that question, and I can't say I blame anyone for that. I admittedly, just a minute ago, called the second half of season 4 a repriving escalation in quality, as if to suggest it does actually make up for the substandard level that Blake 7 was between Rescue and Assassin. And yet I don't know how absolute and final I want this statement to be. There are of course going to be those out there who disagree with my harsh assessments of some of these episodes. Traitor, which was the other one along with Rescue to actually get a star, would certainly qualify in having at least 3 fascinating and well acted characters in it, possibly 4 or 5, to say nothing of reintroducing Servalan. Headhunter was the first Blake 7 episode I ever saw, and while even I couldn't hand a star to an episode about a headless android walking around Xenon base, it is undoubtedly entertaining, and not in a so bad it's good kind of way, in more of a I was closer to giving this a star than Dawn of the Gods kind of way. Assassin was well directed for the most part and tried to give Sulin more to do as a character, so maybe it's not all bad. Unfortunately, it's the episodes in this half of the season I haven't mentioned yet that really give Dross a capital D. Power is both sexist, silly and somewhat tedious. The god-awful Star Drive has the Space Rats, perhaps the worst baddies in Blake 7 or any other television series, and Animals is both tedious and repellent and pointless, in spite of having 2 very well acted parts with acclaimed actors. These are 3 very strong contenders for the worst episode of Blake 7, and while the letters IMHO follow this statement, I suspect there are many out there who are shouting the title of one of these 3 episodes in agreement. Does the second half cancel out this below par section, or does the first section pull down season 4's quality beyond any redemption the second half tries to find? Do 3 of the worst get pulled up by 2 of the best? Or vice versa? In many ways I find myself looking at season 4 as 2 different seasons for this very reason. They are of such a different ilk as if they'd been made by different production teams. If it weren't for the fact they both have the same characters and ships etc, you could be forgiven for thinking they were different programs. It's actually a relief that the end of Blake 7 is given the gravitas and fine-tuning it deserves, and this should not be forgotten when remembering season 4. Ultimately, however, I must regrettably say that I don't think season 4 is saved overall by the efforts of the second and penultimate section of episodes. I know it's much more complicated than simply giving either a thumbs up or thumbs down This isn't a solitary film, this is a multi-episode series, and a massively popular one. But I pose the question, it seems cowardly not to give an answer, in spite of how many shades of grey it comes with. I'm not being ignorant of the contractual and budgetary issues that plague television series to this day, and the BBC is the biggest culprit of this. But Callie's death is very much fast-forwarded through. I think more effort to persuade Jan Chapel to return and actually appear in her death scene would have been nice, and the almost immediate Deus Ex Machina step we take onto a ship that has a highly sophisticated computer and an unfinished teleport system is too contrived. Also, with full regard to the rise in quality we get in the second half of the series, it can't hide the fact that the character of Sulin could have been any character, played by any actor, and may as well not have been included, given the lack of development there is for her, the lack of an episode focusing on her, and her special skill of fast draw isn't a million miles away from Dana's speciality. Speaking of whom, Dana very much starts slipping into the background. There's nothing to help her stand out other than accompanying one of the boys on a planetary mission, one of which in Star Drive actually indicates she is now regarded as disposable. Unlike poor Sulin, she does get an episode to herself. Unfortunately, it's the horrible love story in The Horrible Animals. A real shame given the intriguing and tragic way she was introduced only a season earlier. Someone else who was introduced a season earlier also gets his own episode, and it's the much more absorbing Sand. Tarrant fares better than the ladies in Season 4, however I don't think he fares better than he did in Season 3. His challenging of Avon and independence is very much absent here. Yes, it may have been nothing more than petty bullying and stroppy arrogance we saw in Season 3, but outside of Sand, Tarrant is more Avon's lackey than Avon's foil, and that's a pity. As for Avon himself, I'm still trying to figure out how excessively hammy Paul Darrow's portrayal really becomes. He's very much the leader and as strong-willed as ever, but perhaps he's become more a caricature of Avon. I suppose this may have been inevitable. The campaign against the Federation that he was very much against when he was with Blake has become the character's focus and goal. Hardly self-serving anymore, but yet he is. It's a bit complicated. His own diminishing sanity in respect to losing the Liberator, hearing that Blake is dead, and then later finding out that he isn't, losing Anna, of course, in Season 3's Rumours of Death, and losing Callie as well, it's hardly surprising he starts to become unhinged. The only one who doesn't lose out, or at least manages to hold his own, is Villa. That's a testament more to Michael Keating's portrayal, both in the previous seasons as well as this one. Villa is who he is. It's impossible to write him any other way given the way he's come across before. In fact, despite the fact he still gets pulled through the muck more than anyone else, he actually puts up more of a fight against Avon than all the others combined. It's these inherent flaws that run right through the season that weakens it beyond the others for me. Thankfully, the storylines improve considerably to the point where the characters can both be themselves and serve the episode's plot devices. But character development is at best uneven, and for at least two of our heroes, non-existent. For Dana, this is disappointing. For Sulin, it's, well, odd really. New character, and yet all we get for an intro is, I sell my skill. And then she's just there for the 11 remaining episodes. No criticism of Glynis Barber, she does her best with what she's given, which adds up to virtually nothing. It's a pity really. Season 4 is a lost opportunity in some respects. Maybe spend a few episodes with the crew on Terminal, really examine their plight, instead of just solving it inside the opening quarter of an hour. Maybe Dana's warrior-like qualities could be shown as she manufactures weapons and fends off the Lynx. Maybe Tarrant and Avon are quarrelling as to how things should get done, and the position of leader is in dispute. Maybe let Sulin have the love interest in animals, and then make the rest of that episode actually good. Could we seriously not have chucked out the likes of Power and Star Drive, and explore our characters a bit more, especially the new one? A redundant question for a season that aired a year before I was born, and as much as I bitched about certain episodes, I'll still watch the dross along with the gold, just because it has Avon and Villa and Dana and everyone and everything else that makes Blake 7 as brilliant as it is rightly proclaimed to be. Yes, I have placed myself on the side of Season 4 naysayers, despite muddying this criticism with praise for its second half, but never forget that praise. There are qualities aplenty to be had in Season 4, let alone Blake 7 as a whole. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this review on Season 4, and I hope you've enjoyed all my reviews on Blake 7. As I say, I plan to do one more follow-up video just to sort of talk about everything that I haven't mentioned before, or maybe go over everything I've already discussed. And as I say, I plan to rank the episodes and the seasons to hopefully give a better context as to what I think of certain episodes. Until then, all the best, and take it easy.